everyone, this is Rachel, and I'm here for another episode of Get Sketchy with Christy and Rachel. Today we will both be using this sketch by Lisa Hidy for sketchandscrap.blogspot.com, I think, or Scrap, yeah, Sketch and Scrap, I'm right there, woo! Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my gesso, and this is very old gesso I bought back probably in 2010, and I had no idea what gesso was or what to do with it. I just bought it because, you know, that's how I roll. And I'm going to cover about 3/4 of my paper, and it's just white cardstock, and I'm going to use this technique I've seen Adele from Inky Quill do, where you spray down the water and then you use mists and swirl all around. I'm going to start with Salty Ocean, Cracked Pistachio, and Twisted Citron, and I'm just going to roll that paper around. And now that I've kind of rolled it around, I'm just going to add a little bit more water to take care of the areas that I didn't like how they turned out. That's one really cool thing about the distress inks, is you can re-wet it and kind of model out what isn't working for you. I'm then going to take my oh sugar, I want to say hairdryer. It's not a hairdryer. It's my heat tool. And dry that all up, and once it's all dry, I'm going to get started on my layout. Now I'm going to follow the sketch pretty closely, except for the fact that I'm using 2 3x4 photos rather than 2 square photos that I believe would have been 3x3. Either they used 4x4 and larger pieces of paper that I'm aware of, but I'm pretty sure those photos were originally 3x3. I'm going to be working, besides the cardstock, exclusively with 6x6 paper. I actually did have this pink watercolor ombre paper in a 12x12, but I thought it would be kind of neat if I did one piece upside down and one piece right side up. So instead of being ombre from top to bottom, it ended up looking like it was ombre from the middle out to both ends. And once I laid it down, I was super excited that it actually worked out like I planned. So the only thing wrong with this is there was an imperfection with one of my papers, and the perforation of the 6x6 was just a little bit low, so I kind of had to overlap just a little bit one paper over the other. I am going to cover that up with an embellishment, so it's not noticeable at all in the video. In real life you can see a line, so I did decide to cover it up. Now all I'm doing is picking out pattern papers from my 6x6, and you'll see I am saving every single little scrap of this fancy free line. I adore this line, and also because Paige Evans is the queen of the quilt pattern scrapbooking style. So in case I want to tuck them behind a cut file, or in case I want to punch shapes out and make a quilt pattern. Alright, so what I'm looking for is paper to back both of my photos. I had originally thought I would back them both on the same, but because I'm working with 6x6 and these are 3x3 across, that was not going to work out. So instead, I mount them each separately. I mount the photo that's going to go on the right over the pink piece of paper on a piece of aqua colored paper, and then I want to mount the photo I'm going to put on the left of my face on a piece of pink paper because it's going to go over the blue mixed media part. So I choose this Boulder Floral. Now you're not going to see it, but it will read very pink, so I get the effect I'm going for. So I was very happy with how this layout turned out. I do end up having to fix something later on, but in general, I really like this layout. Okay, so I grabbed this multicolored floral piece, and that's going to be the main piece behind my photos. Behind my lines. That doesn't even make any sense. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm cutting up the paper. In the sketch, there are 3 different sections, 1 above and 2 below, that have 2 to 3 pieces of thinly sliced, like it's ham, thinner papers in little groupings. And I'm just going through all the scraps I have, including this piece that I used for matting my photo, and I'm just going to cut 3 different groupings from different pieces of paper, trying to vary the size of the patterns, the colors in each grouping, and also, in this case, bringing in a punch of a half circle to go in the top grouping to follow the line of the sketch. So once I get all that down, I am going to use the same aqua ombre paper that is matting one of my photos to cut 2 little pieces that I will be using as my journaling strips. This is not a very large journaling heavy layout. It's just mostly I really like these photos I took. I really love this paper. It very much reminded me of soft and happy colors, so that's what I really wanted to use it for. So when I start using my title, doing my title and stuff, I'll go more into that. So I'm still cutting more pieces of paper for this line. I decided I need one more for that grouping just below the photo, and I accidentally cut it crooked, and I think that's where my problem begins. Like I said, it's not a big deal in the end, and I do end up fixing it. It's just something that bothered me. So I cut one more piece of that dark paper, and I'm going to put that up at the top. And now I'm pretty happy with the way my little groupings are going, but I do grab that tag, and in the sketch, I believe it's more like a 3x4 cut apart, but I decided to use a tag. I'm going to ink up all of my papers with navy ink by Heidi Swap, and if you saw, I did try to elbow block the cat from coming up. I was completely unsuccessful, and if you want to watch that, watch all the way to the end of the video, and you will see Miss Xanthe and her antics, and how she enjoyed annoying me for quite a bit of time. I'm going to get this layout all put together, and because of Xanthe, everything kind of came apart, and I have to kind of refigure out how I had my photos. It's fine, it works out fine, but it was like, oh sugar, how did I have these again? I don't remember. So I got that all put together. And once I'm happy with how I have it, I'm going to go ahead and glue my main photo block to the back of my layout, and I'm going to include this tag also. Everything except a bit of the title is from the Fancy Free line. I'm going to glue part of it to the left-hand side and part of it to the right-hand side. And now here's where I end up making a mistake. When I go to glue this main photo block to my paper, I should have used a ruler. Because the paper curls up because of the mixed media, and because the watercolor isn't a straight line, and because I'm working with a strong vertical line, I really should have used a ruler, because all of it ends up being just slightly crooked. And I don't really realize it until after, when I go to take the photo of my layout. And then I'm like, it's all slightly crooked. Okay then. I ended ripping up everything. Luckily, the ATG glue had not really set yet, and luckily I hadn't used liquid glue on anything except one little corner, and that wasn't glued to the background, it was just glued to another piece of paper. So I was able to pick everything up and straighten it all out. I'm very happy with how it turned out. Speaking of happy, as you can see, I'm moving on to the next part of my layout. I pulled the word "so happy" as the main part of my title. I also pulled a couple of those glittered hearts from that same thicker pack. And then I grabbed these wood veneer pieces, also from the Fancy Free kit. And that flare is actually from a Scraptastic kit that I did not buy. I just bought the flare a month after. It's their Cake by the Ocean, which was filled with the Fancy Free line. So I thought, hello, of course the flare is going to go with this line. And I didn't have any flare for this line, so I thought I will go ahead and get that. And now I pull out my chipboard piece of board. That was super descriptive. I totally lost the train of thought there, didn't I? Okay. I pull out some chipboard pieces, 2 little banners, and then another heart. And once I get that down, I'm going to do my very quick journaling. And I'm just talking about how nothing makes me so happy as sitting in the sand by the beach and just being able to relax for the day. You know, there's no laundry calling your name because we live about 45 minutes from the shore, so it's not like I can go home and do laundry or dishes or anything. All I can do is sit on the beach and relax. So I'm going to go ahead and get that glued down. to the lowest grouping and then that middle grouping, and then I'm going to go ahead and tack down all of my thicker pieces like my wood veneer and my flare. And finally, I'm going to finish off my title. I'm going to be using 2 different colors of this Ellie Studio Alpha, and then also a smaller alpha from Webster's Pages. I cut all of that out because I was chatting with someone at the same time I was doing it, so it literally, like, no, not literally, of course not literally, but it felt like it took me 9 years to do that. Hello. So then I'm going to grab the puffy, so I grabbed those puffy stickers, and I use the numbers 37, first because that's how old I am, and second because I never use numbers, and I always feel really bad about that. So to finish off my layout and this rambling voiceover, I'm going to grab some Heidi Swap Color Shine, and I'm going to put some patina on the pink side, and some blush on the blue side. Okay, yay! Finished it off, and I completed a sentence. Go, Rachel! Okay, folks, that is it for me today. Don't forget, if you want to see Xanthi in action, hang out till the end of the video, and please hop on over to Christy's channel. I will put a link down in the description box to her YouTube channel and watch her take on this sketch. Have a great day, everyone. Bye!